Good morning, everyone. It is Wednesday, looks like January 8th, and we are live with episode number 19 of the Mindless Meanderings. I'm Jesse Fries, coming to you from Central Texas, where I'm wondering if Mark Zuckerberg became conservative or he's just afraid of Trump. Yeah.
It's a very good question.
Yeah,
And
right?
I'm Jamin Fries, coming at you from eastern Kansas, where we thankfully survived a very nasty winter storm that was running through the central part of the country.
Yeah, that looked nasty. I saw some of the TikToks. They were freaking awesome of you guys slip sliding around.
Yeah, for the first time, we actually received emergency alerts, kind of like the Amber Alerts and stuff, where it would come through your phone like an Amber Alert does,
Right.
telling us to stay off the roads.
Okay.
And
Makes sense.
and now that the snow and ice are gone, we're in insanely cold. We Monday night we had a low of -4,
Holy.
which for Kansas is pretty low.
Yeah, no, yeah. But Kansas kind of gets that kind of regularly, too. It's not an oddity, really, It's, but it is cold.
I started receiving alerts on my phone also. I've got one of the local news channels here. I have them send alerts to my phone.
Uh-huh.
And I did not know this, but I guess at the -4 temperatures, the salt and the spray that they put on the road becomes
Uh-huh.
ineffective.
Yeah. After some time, even salt water freezes.
Yep. Yeah. For the last 3 nights now, I've received those warnings saying do not be out on the road because even all the preventative stuff that we can put down is not going to work anymore.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Kamala Harris won't work ever again after she certified the vote against
Yeah,
for Trump.
no kidding.
That's
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that happened. What, on the 6th? So on
Yeah.
Monday.
Yep, Monday. Yep.
Yeah. This time we didn't have any craziness going on. So.
Well, of course not. I mean,
because Trump won.
yeah. And you can take that in both ways.
Yeah. Apparently, though, this was the first time that Democrats have accepted the presidential election since they lost in 1988. Because some of them,
up until then, there was not a single time where there were not some claims of impropriety that came up.
Well, it was like so in '88. So with Bush, the first Bush,
yep.
they said, okay, yeah, he's president. Actually, that technically probably would have been '89. Just saying.
Mm-hmm.
But the news article or whoever said it said '88. But then in 2000, of course, there's the hanging Chad thing.
Yep.
And so they didn't think that the second Bush made it in. And then you had in 2004, apparently Karl Rove. They said the Democrats said that Karl Rove rigged the Ohio voting machines.
Mm-hmm.
And then in 2016, of course, they said that Trump colluded with
Russia.
The
Russians,
yeah, even though there is no evidence of it. But yeah, so.
And I'm just trying to remember, did Hillary ever admit that she didn't win the election?
I don't think she has yet. Yeah.
And yet all I've heard for the last 4 years was harping on Trump for denying that he lost the election. I mean, I think that's one of the reasons that I just laugh at the news now, because it's just so blatant. The hypocrisy is so blatant.
Yeah, but there is a difference though. Trump just wouldn't shut up about it. Hillary Clinton says it as an aside every time it's brought up, but it's not. It doesn't come up that often. But Trump, during that period of time,
I think the big difference is that Trump was trying to. Trump spent basically the first 2 to 3 years after the election trying to figure out a way to get it proven that it was stolen from him.
No, right, right.
There were,
Plus, not only that,
he tried to take it to a lot of courts and stuff like
no,
that.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But not only that, he also was being attacked by the DOJ like nobody's
Oh yeah,
business.
oh
You know,
yeah,
for the
yeah.
like the
No,
top secret
absolutely.
files and everything like that that
Yep,
every president has, including
yep,
Biden and everything like that. Yeah, no, he was
yeah,
completely. He's still being attacked for all this stuff. Yeah, so it's not.
yeah,
It
yeah.
doesn't really surprise me that much on there.
No, no, not
But
at all.
along that line, it's like all these CNN once again fact checked Trump. And I'm just like, are you kidding me? Why? Can we just stop this fact checking? Because most of it is just Trump is just exaggerating a lot of times.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know, it's the actual numbers. It's like at one point in time, he in Mar-a-Lago, he just said that we had a trading deficit with Europe of 350 billion, is what he said, right? Well, the
okay.
fact check was that's false. It's only 209 million last year. It's probably more this year, but it's still hundreds of billions of dollars. Okay, so he doesn't
Yeah.
have the exact figure. It's to me, it's like he just speaks off the cuff, and so
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
a lot of it's going to be wrong, but we all know what he's
Yeah.
saying.
Yep.
You know, it's
He may not have the exact values when he's saying it
right.
because he is off the cuff. He's almost never scripted.
Yep, yep.
And but the everything that he's saying, the principle behind what he's saying is still there.
Well, at least for him, you know, there's some argument. It's
Yeah.
like he says like for the January 6th, he says there were no guns at the Capitol. Well, but some people have been arrested and convicted and pled guilty and whatnot to having guns at the Capitol during January 6th in 2021.
Right.
But I think what he's saying is that they really weren't pulled out, they weren't used, and also they didn't actually go inside the Capitol.
Yeah.
You know, it's all I see, because I looked at some of these reports and everything like that from the DOJ and everything like that, and it says on
Hmm.
the grounds, oh,
Yeah.
we found this guy, he didn't have a gun, but we found his gun on the grounds. So it's like it's just that it's not that they actually took them into the building or anything like that. It's just that,
Yeah.
don't get me wrong, but guns aren't that great, but I'm sure every crowd has guns in it, so I'm not really shocked
Oh
by
yeah.
it. But I think it's a
Yeah.
splitting hairs situation of actually being inside with a gun versus
Right. Well,
actually
I mean,
just being
it's like the with the one that you said, the way it's said, it sounded like he left his gun with somebody else, or he left his gun in the car,
no, it was on the
and then
ground.
he went into the building.
Yeah, well,
You
actually, I
know.
don't know if he ever went into the building. I just know that he left his
Okay.
gun on the grounds of the Capitol. That's it. And if you've ever been to the
Yeah.
Capitol, that's some huge grounds. Just say it.
Oh
It's
yeah.
huge.
Yeah.
Beyond the
Well, I
building
mean,
itself is
not
huge.
not not only is the grounds of the Capitol huge, but it also the grounds contains the area where the public is allowed to be, and there are
Right,
no
right.
laws that you can't, if you've got a concealed carry permit, there's no law saying you can't take it onto public land.
Well, right, but I'm not sure if there is such a thing in DC, if there is such a thing as a concealed carry or anything like
Yeah,
that.
I don't know if
Yeah.
there is or not. I'd have to look into gun laws in DC, but it's too deep of a subject for me.
Yeah, but it's just things like that, and then another one that they fact checked was, oh, he said that NATO wasn't spending enough, or European countries weren't spending enough on NATO, and they go into that and say, well, technically they don't have to spend anything.
Oh my God.
And so they go, that's false. He's wrong, but it's like we all know that they're supposed to kick in some money into NATO. I'm sorry.
Yeah, there's a certain percentage of the GDP of their GDP that they're supposed to put into NATO.
Right, right.
And
So
up until Trump's first term, not a single country outside of the U.S. even came close to what that number was supposed to be.
yeah, and they still don't. Not in comparison to what the
No,
U.S.
now
spends.
there's like 4 or 5 countries that get up to the proper percentage of their GDP. The
Right,
rest
but
of
that's
them are
only like
still way behind.
but that's still only like 2 to 3%,
Yeah,
of their GDP.
yeah,
So it's like, it's just all this. See, the thing is that as we were talking earlier, we were talking something along these lines, and what
yeah.
what hit me was that basically all this stuff of like the fact checking, the like getting into the minutia, well,
Mhm.
this word, it's like Bill Clinton. What does "is" mean? What is?
Yeah,
It is.
yeah,
It's that point of stupidity that
yeah.
I think Republicans and the right just feel gaslit.
Oh
100%
yeah,
gaslit,
absolutely,
because
absolutely.
we hear something and it's not that, and then all of a sudden the left and the media is coming and saying, "Oh, he said this," and you're going, "That's not really what he was saying." So, and to me,
Yeah.
this just leads to the divide.
Yep.
It
Oh
really
yeah. Yeah.
adds to the divide. So,
Yeah. And yeah, that's something that I've noticed a long time ago too, and gotten into that with one of the brothers before too, about how just because he said one line in a 5-hour speech or whatever, in even a
yep,
half-hour speech,
yep,
one sentence in a half-hour speech, you can't just take that one sentence and say, oh, he's going to become a tyrant, he's going to become a dictator because he was talking to one religious group that normally doesn't like to get out and vote very much,
yep,
telling them, we need you here now, and after this you won't have to come out anymore.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Or
And so
the thing where
suddenly he was going to be a fascist, that there were not going to be any more elections.
oh yeah, or the one time he said, "On day one, I'll be a dictator." But
Yes,
he just meant
yes.
like on the one day he would sign executive orders
Yeah.
dictating
Well,
some
in
things,
fact,
and that
that's
was
what
it.
he said that
Yep,
he was
yep,
going to do, and then he said, "Yep, on that day one, I'm going to be the dictator.
yeah, yeah.
After that, after that, I'll be back to normal." But
yeah,
he even said in that time that what he was going to do as a dictator was sign a whole bunch of just presidential um, stuff, and yeah, I mean, it just
yeah,
yeah, the
yeah.
presidential orders, I mean, it's presidential orders is being a dictator because it's not going through the proper process.
Well,
So
executive
anyone
orders.
that signs
Yeah,
the
yeah.
executive order is being a dictator for that period of time.
Technically, yeah, yeah. Technically, it is. It is. But it's so bad that it's some British. I saw this opinion piece where this British guy he said I think he's a conservative, so a Tory,
Mhm.
but he was saying that they should become the 51st state, the UK. I thought that was awesome.
Yep, yep.
He said that there's been a steady process of economic transfer from this is his words, from provincial England to the American metropole. So, do you know what metropole is? Just so.
Uh, yeah, it's well, no, maybe not.
Okay, metropole, especially when it is like the colony home. So when it was the Great British Empire with England and India and everything like that, right? When they actually had
Yeah.
control over that, England was the metropole. It is the
Okay.
center of the colony, basically, of the
Okay.
colonial system.
Okay.
So it's the
Okay.
metropole. And so he's calling England the province, and he's calling the America the metropole, the center of it. and,
Wow.
and it's getting so bad for the UK that we are actually offshoring jobs from the United States, not to India, but to England. Because,
Seriously?
because
Holy crap.
their wages are so low, dude. So low. It is crazy how
Wow.
low their wages are. I have a sister-in-law over there, and when
Yeah.
uh, and she's high powered up, is in a global company and everything like that, but her wages in comparison to what she'd be making here in the United States, it might not even be half.
Damn.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
It's
insane.
really it's really bad. It's really bad. And then just recently, it's come out that if England were part of the United States,
Hmm.
where do you think they would rank like GDP level amongst the 50 states or 51 with them in there? Where do you think they'd rank?
Um, Based on what you said, I'm going to guess within the lower 25 at least.
51st, dude. They would rank
Are you
51st.
serious?
They're below Mississippi, which is 50. Nothing against
Holy
Mississippi,
crap.
but they're below Mississippi.
Damn.
Yeah. That is how bad they are off
What's
right now.
happened? They used to be doing really good.
Everything has just been sent over to us. It's basically what it
Okay.
is. Yeah.
Okay.
And then their finance,
Wow.
that basically, since they left the EU, their finance all was put over into the EU because the EU was using them for their financial hub.
Okay. Yeah.
And now they're not that anymore. So yeah,
Yep.
it's the
Yep.
UK is just they're they need to do something. And I'm not
Oh
sure,
yeah. Yeah.
but I'm not sure if they can. Also, if you really think about it, because they're a small country. Now, don't get me wrong;
Oh yeah. Yep.
they're populous. There's like what 41 to 50 million people there,
Something
but
like that. Yeah. But
on a
they don't have nearly the land that we have. They don't have nearly. I mean, you know, having a small amount of land very limits what you can do, and not just agriculturally, but I mean just anything, because you can't there's so many areas where you can't build cities, where you can't build industry and stuff like that.
right, yeah. But no, apparently, and things are expensive over there. Plus
Oh
most of their
yeah.
taxes. So their wages, as I said, like probably like less than half of what an American would make, even if you
Right.
convert it. That's like converting it. So
Yeah.
dollars to pounds, it's converting it. But then the electrical rates and the gas rate are sky high, and then you have also the taxes. The taxes are
Yep.
crazy over there. Apparently, if you start making over 100,000 pounds, you're going to be taxed possibly at 60%.
Oh wow. Boy, that's a lot of taxes.
Yeah, yeah. So now that could be like where that's only 60% on anything above 100,000. I don't know if that's the case.
Right.
Progressive
Right.
taxes. I don't know if it's
But
progressive
still, I
taxes,
mean,
but
that's a lot of taxes.
yeah, at 100,000, dude. 100,000. That's
Yeah.
like nothing.
100,000 is nothing. Yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong; it's a good wage, but it's not.
Yeah.
It,
Yeah.
it's not rich by any stretch of the imagination,
Oh,
especially
no, not even close. No.
after inflation and everything like that. So
No. It's not like we're in the early 90s where 100,000 meant that you could live pretty well.
yeah. Now it's like, okay, you're getting by decently. That's about it. It's
Well, and then
you can't take any
it all
trips, but
depends
you
on.
can.
Yeah, well, it all depends on where you live. If you're here
Well,
in
of
Kansas,
course,
100,000, you're gonna be pretty well off. You're gonna be able to take the trips and stuff like that.
right.
But if you're in New York City making 100,000, or if
That's
you're in
nothing.
California making 100,000, you're barely making rent.
Yep. If that, yeah.
Yeah,
But yeah,
yeah.
so
So it all depends on where you live, but yeah, no, 100,000 is not that much anymore.
it really isn't. It really isn't. And then you have all the hate speech and everything like that, laws going on over there
Yes,
where you can't say anything
yes,
online or anything like that. It's just.
yep, yep. Yeah, and all the misinformation things that they're trying laws that people are trying to put in place now, where if you basically, I, I'll never understand misinformation laws, because basically what a misinformation law is it's illegal to say anything that I disagree with.
Basically, yeah. It's I have this whole.
And that seems very reminiscent of the Nazi fascism.
Well, you're right, because misinformation is what is misinformation is based off of what the government says is misinformation.
Yeah,
So you have to toe the line to the government propaganda is what you need to do.
yeah,
Otherwise,
yeah. You can't speak out against government propaganda or else you get arrested, which is very reminiscent of either communist Russia or fascist Nazism. Fascist Germany was that way too.
well,
So,
yeah. To me, a society can't function, especially like a democracy or something like that,
Oh yeah.
unless
Yeah.
if there's like actual free speech, like you can say
Yep.
whatever. Because if free speech is out there, then you can have arguments. You can actually argue about it
Yeah.
and everything like that.
Exactly. Well,
Otherwise,
and
it'll just
not only that, but without the free speech, without the ability to speak out against something that you believe is wrong,
Mhm.
you will have no more progression.
Right, right,
You'll have no improvement in anything if nobody can talk about it. You look at a company, if a business, if they made it so that nobody could talk against the upper echelons of the business, you couldn't discuss anything saying that you're doing this the wrong way. That company would be bankrupt in 5 months.
exactly, exactly. It's just like it's like just because you don't like what somebody's saying doesn't mean that they're wrong.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like the classic example, like truly classic, like Galileo. For Christ's sake, he
Hmm.
just he came he invented the telescope or nearly did, and he
Yep.
saw the moons of Saturn and everything like that,
Yeah.
and then the church just didn't like what he said, and so they just put him under house arrest for the rest of his
Yeah.
life. It's like even if you don't like it, he was right. you
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
he was right. There's nothing else to say about it, and
Yep. Yep.
you need to have an argument back and forth. Otherwise, you don't know what you're missing if you
Oh
just
yeah, no,
shut
absolutely. And
down
and
speech.
and if you can't have those small arguments back and forth, you're never actually going to get to something that can actually work because, like right now, everybody, like with global warming,
Right.
everybody is saying, you can't, if you say that the numbers don't quite add up, then you're a global warming denier and stuff like that. But if you can't talk against the science, if you can't try to prove that the science is wrong, then you're never actually going to come up with any new science that might be better.
Right. Right. Or
I mean,
say, or it's like just like with social things, like the grooming gangs over in
yeah, yeah,
England and everything like that. You can't say anything about it because you're gonna upset the Pakistanis,
right.
or you're being racist and you're being this and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
if you suppress everything, even if it's the truth, and you're suppressing it just because you don't like that there's a racial tone to it, even if
Yeah.
it's not racist, if it's just stating facts about a racial group or something like that, if you
Yep.
limit that, what that is going to do is it's going to drive that dissent deep into ground, and it will
Oh
fester
yeah.
there and it will grow,
Oh
and
yeah.
then it can explode at some point in time. This is
Yep.
what happens. It's like the monarchies back in the day, it's like England actually survived, I think, as a country and their monarchy because they allowed freedom of speech. They
Oh
actually
yeah.
allowed
Yeah.
it back then. You
Absolutely.
could talk bad about the king and everything like that. Now,
Yeah.
it was kind of iffy and everything like that. They did try to shut down the coffee houses one time because there was dissent going on there. But the English were going,
Right.
well, fuck you. No, we're not going to do that. And then it went about
Yep.
its business.
Yep.
But the monarchy,
Yep.
yeah, there was a civil war and they were kicked out for a bit. But it's managed to survive. Their democracy has survived.
Yeah.
And if you don't allow that, it could just lead to really bad things. It's
Yep.
you need to have that sort of thing.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, the backfiring thing. I mean, that's exactly what happened in the election.
Yep.
The Republicans put up with all the name calling, with all the racist comments, with everything else, with all the wokeness. They put up with that for 4 years, and they're finally like, you know what? To hell with this. We're not putting
Oh,
up with it anymore.
it's not just 4 years.
Well,
Every
no, no,
Republican
but I mean, it was
since
really hard and heavy. Well, okay, for 6 years or
no, no,
so,
no, no,
because they
no.
started
Even
it up.
before that, if you
Well,
think
no, I
about
no,
it,
I know that it was
every
going before that, but I'm talking the wokeness though. That
well,
started
yeah,
up
the
during the
wokeness.
Trump
Well,
election.
it was just called politically correct before then.
Yeah.
It was basically the same sort of thing, but it's like that getting to being called a racist or things like that. Republicans have been called racist since like the 80s.
Oh yeah.
and and maybe even before then. And the thing
Hmm.
is that every Republican has kind of just they don't listen to Democrats when they say it. They go, "Well, you're just full of
Yeah.
shit."
Yeah.
Because Dick Cheney, he was called a racist. Now he's a hero
Yeah.
because he's against Trump. Yada yada yada.
Yeah.
It's all this crap. Whenever a Democrat says racist or calls you a racist or a fascist, every
Yep.
Republican just goes, "Yeah, okay." They don't even entertain it.
Yep.
It doesn't even enter their brain. They just go, "Okay," and then they move on with their life. It's
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I remember back in the day when you if you were called racist, you'd always be like, I'm not racist. I've got a few black friends and stuff like that. And like, oh God.
uh,
And the thing that I find hilarious is that you still hear that from the Democrats now.
right.
If any Democrat is called racist or anything like that, or they're like, no, I've got a few black friends. I'm like, you know, that don't prove jack shit.
Yeah, you know what's funny though? Unfortunately, I proved that it goes both ways because we were at this bar once. I think it was America's Pub in KC when if that's still open. I don't know if it was, but
Okay.
it was. Anyways, we were down in America's Pub, and I was there with Carol,
Hmm.
and she was like doing something. I was just sitting at a table. Then all of a sudden, this group of black people come up and then just start causing me havoc and everything like that,
Oh
and
yeah,
basically
yeah,
telling me to leave and everything like that. And I go,
yep,
"What the fuck are you doing? I was sitting here. This is my seat." They go, "No, no, you got to move it." Everything like that. And I go, and then Carol walks up, who's black,
yep.
and I go, "What's going?" And she's going, "What's going on?" And I said, and they go, "Oh, we're so sorry. We're so sorry. We didn't mean anything." I go, "What?" So now that I'm with a black woman, this is a problem. They go, "Well, we have white friends too." I'm just like,
Oh God.
and I'm like, going, "Sure, whatever," and then me and Carol laughed. It
Yeah,
wasn't worth it,
yeah,
but it was like, yeah. Everybody uses that. It's like, "Oh, I know somebody. I'm not that way," but
yeah,
you might be or might not be. I'm not saying you are, but there was
yeah.
something about the race involved. Just saying.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Just saying.
yep, absolutely. Oh wow, yeah.
Yep. 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 So what
Uh,
you got? I think I've been spouting a lot.
well, along with the certification of Trump, the House Republicans were rejoicing over the fact that there was only one defector when they nominated the Speaker of the House.
Well, wasn't that like the second vote? The first vote failed, and then they got everybody in line. Wasn't that it?
I'm not entirely sure on that. I didn't. The article that I read didn't mention that how many
Oh,
votes
okay.
had happened.
Okay.
But yeah, yeah, it was such a shock that only one defector.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I mean,
It,
normally it'd be at least five to ten of them wouldn't go with Republicans, which is one of those things.
well, yeah. It was. Plus, it's like no matter what, that job is right now. That job is like the most hated job in the Republican
Oh
Party,
yeah, yeah,
but you need it.
yep,
And the way the job works is that you're the leader of the House. This means that you're the
yeah.
leader of technically
Oh,
everybody there.
yeah.
And so you have to be willing to talk and compromise a
Oh yeah,
bit
yeah.
with the other
Oh yeah,
side and everything
absolutely.
like that. And
Absolutely, yeah.
generally, if you're in that position, you love the system itself, so
Yes.
you love how it works and things like that.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
Unlike
That's
rank and file.
but yeah, that's one thing that I've never really understood about politics lately. I remember back in the 90s where both parties would sit down, they'd talk to each other, they'd hammer things out, and we might end up somewhere in the middle.
Right, right.
Whereas now it's like, well, we're not going to talk to you at all. So if we don't have a majority vote, then whatever we're dealing with, nothing's going to happen. If you don't have a majority vote, nothing on your side is going to happen. So just, which, I mean, it's not terribly bad that nothing gets done, but the stuff that does get through and get done because people will always politic.
Right,
A
right.
lot of it, a lot of the stuff that gets through is just craziness now.
A lot of it is. A lot of it is. It's yeah, something needs to change. And
Yeah,
really, it kind of started going this route back in the '90s with Gingrich
yeah,
when he was
yep,
leader of the House. It was
yep,
they had that whole point plan or whatever. I can't remember what they called it at the time, but they had a plan and they were going to force it through and everything like that.
yeah,
Luckily for
yeah,
them, they had Bill Clinton, who is a moderate.
yeah,
And so they were able to actually work with him a little bit, even though they did
yep,
impeach him and everything like that. But
yeah,
it's
yeah,
but ever since then, except for that brief period of 9/11, that year or two after that,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
just been a contest of wills in
Oh yeah,
our
yeah,
Congress. Yeah.
yeah. It's like between the matador and the bull. The
Yep.
matador's waving this red flag, and either party's the matador, whichever one is
No.
trying to
Yeah.
get something
Yep.
through. They're waving that red flag, trying to get that bull to come and join them.
Yep. Yep.
But
Yep.
it never turns out quite the way they wanted it to.
It never. It never does.
Uh, but yeah, so that was. I just found it amusing that they were celebrating that there was only one defector.
Oh, completely, completely. Yeah, that's it's perfect.
Yep, yep.
Yeah, because they've had problems before.
Oh
A
yeah, yeah.
lot of problems before.
That they have. That's one thing that I've always wished that the Republicans were as good at as the Democrats is sticking together. Because with the Democrats, once somebody on the Democrat side says we're doing this, almost basically every Democrat toes the line and goes with
Right.
it.
Well,
Whereas with the Republicans, that's hardly ever the case.
the Republican Party generally allows dissent, more or
Yeah.
less.
Yep.
Democrats, they really don't. You know
Oh yeah. Yeah.
that group, the squad, with AOC and
Yep.
Ilan Omar and everything like that. It's like they're bucking, but I know Nancy Pelosi really had a talking to of AOC. She really went after her at one point in time, just because it's like
Yeah.
you really need to get your act together. This is how the party works.
Yep.
This is if you want anything to be done for us, and we will take it personally, and we will shut down anything,
Yep.
even if it's a good idea. Uh,
Yep.
Republicans some are like that, but in general, they aren't as loyal.
Yeah.
And also in the Democratic Party, it's like if it's your turn, it's your turn. So if you're
Yep.
running for president, if it's your turn, you're going to be the choice.
Yeah.
It's they of course they do the primary show and everything like that, but
Yeah. Yeah.
with the
But
super delegates and everything like that.
they know far ahead of time who's actually going to be their person.
Right, unless if they fuck up, of course. Because yeah, if
Well,
it's
yeah,
no matter what, if they go, yeah, that person just beat you, dude. Just say it. We gave you a shot. You crapped out, but let's
yep,
move on from there.
yep,
But yeah, the Republican Party,
absolutely, yeah,
it's not really. It's about who comes up on top at the given moment.
yeah,
Um, from how I view it, at least, I may be wrong on this, but I think that's a big difference in between the two parties beyond the actual ideas of the
right.
parties.
Beyond the politics of the parties, yeah,
Right, right,
yeah,
right,
the
right.
the way that the parties are run, it definitely is true. I mean, it's the Republican Party is definitely more of a they're a party that allows people to have their own ideas and their own opinions about stuff, really. Whereas the Democrat Party is more of a you have to toe the line type of party, is what it
Mm-hmm.
seems like to me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Next topic.
Next topic. Yeah, I think we're done with politics now.
Yeah, yeah. Well, actually, no. There's a lot of politics in this list, but
Well,
it's not kind of just in and out. Let's see here. Oh, no. We'll save science for later on in the show.
hey,
Let's see here. So, what's the Project Digits?
oh yeah, that's a NVIDIA has put out a new thing. It's like a little 5 inch by 5 inch cube
Uh huh.
that it's it alone can power an AI, can power AI.
Oh, okay.
It's a tiny ass supercomputer, so it's expensive as heck.
Right.
But for $3,000, you can own your own AI. You can now it's not the AI itself; it's just the computer. So you'll have to program the AI for whatever you want it to do.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But I mean, you can connect it to your PC. You can connect it to whatever you want, and you can have your own personal AI that you program.
Oh, nice. 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 I've
Yeah.
been messing around with Grok lately. Yeah. So,
Oh, okay. Okay.
yeah. Yeah. Seems to be pretty good. Yeah. So,
Yeah. 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 That it definitely is. Yeah. That in fact, the computing power of it is if you put two, you can connect up to two of them together.
okay.
So you and the computing power of two of them is um, two Project Digits machines can be linked together to run up to 405 billion parameter models.
Okay. I don't even know what that means, but it sounds impressive.
Um, Essentially, you can put the computing power in there to drive a car. You can and basically think of all of the AI stuff that's out there.
Uh huh.
Just these two little machines can do it all
Oh, okay.
as long as you've got the programming for it. So I know that's pretty insane, and it's just I mean for what you're getting, it's only $3,000 for that. So I mean, it's expensive, but comparatively, I mean, think of any other supercomputer that you're going to build.
Oh, yeah.
You're
Yeah.
talking close to that, anyways, if not more. So,
Well, a regular laptop can run you 3,000. It's not.
yeah, yeah,
It's not.
yeah.
It
So,
doesn't
so
seem
you can
that
have an
expensive,
AI,
anyway. So,
you can have an AI supercomputer for the same price as you can get a good laptop.
that's cool. That's cool. But you have to know how to
Yep.
program it, is what you're telling me, right? It's
Yes, yes. It's completely blank, so you'd have to do all the programming yourself. So.
well, fuck that then. That's too much work for me.
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely for those that are interested in AIs and want to see where you can go with it. I think it's more what it's mostly. I think the target market I think for that would be say an individual that has a specific thing that AI would be helpful for them for.
hmm
Then they can like they can just buy this and they can program the AI the way to do just the specific thing that they want it to do. It's basically to me right because right now most AI is done by one big company that has thousands of servers set up to generate this one AI, and
hmm
so anything that they want AI to do, they have to run it through all these servers, and this just allows you to fine tune exactly what the AI is doing for a specific purpose, rather than having to build a broad AI that can then handle a lot of different things.
Oh, okay. Okay. I think I spaced out there for a bit.
That's not surprising with you. We're talking
It,
tech, talking computer tech. That's not really your forte.
it really isn't, especially in the nitty gritty of it. It's
Yeah,
why I use
yeah.
Apple stuff. It's like I love tech. I used to really pay attention to it back when it was like
Right.
Pentium 2, Pentium 3 sort of thing.
Yeah.
But since then, I have completely. Just work. I just want you to work. That's it. Just
Yeah.
work and
Yeah.
make it simple for me, which is why I love Apple stuff because it's just simple. But speaking
Yeah.
of
It's
Apple,
the
actually, this is a perfect segue. Speaking of Apple, Tim Cook, the CEO of Apple, is donating $1 million to the Trump inauguration committee.
yeah.
And it's from his own pocket too, dude. It's not even Apple
Oh
money.
yeah. Yeah. It's not from Apple. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but it looks like Trump has raised $200 million for this fucking party. So, which the last record was 107 million, and that was Trump again.
Yep. Yep.
He's doubled this. And basically, like everybody in tech has stepped in. They're giving like Meta and everything like that. Amazon, they've
Oh
given like
yeah.
$1
Yeah.
million to him.
Yep.
Uh, I think it was like the story was like I think Tim Cook gave like Biden like maybe like 20 grand or something like that for his, but he's giving $1 million. These guys are like buttering up Trump. They're like, "Oh, come on, buddy, don't be mad at us."
Yeah. There was speaking of that, there was a newspaper cartoonist
Uh-huh.
that quit her job because the newspaper wouldn't put the cartoon that she drew into the newspaper.
Okay.
Um, and she says that it's because they were trying to butter up to Trump. But what the cartoon was it had like Zuckerberg, it had it had Bezos, it had the Apple guy.
Tim Cook,
They
yeah.
were all they were all like kneeling in front of a statue of a big guy with a long tie, supposedly Trump, holding
Right.
up bags of money. Mickey Mouse was in there.
Uh, what was this for the Washington Post, and was Bezos on there as
Yes,
well?
yes,
Well,
yeah,
okay, so she wanted to put a hit job against her own boss into the Washington
yep,
Post.
yep.
Yeah, that's gonna get denied. I'm sorry. That's just
Yeah, the official reason for that, she says that it was because of they were afraid of Trump and stuff like that. But they said that the official reason was because they were running a story about the same type of thing, and you didn't run the story and the cartoon or something like that. I'm like, no, they always run cartoons that run along with the stories.
generally
There's
they
something
do.
not ending
Yeah,
up here.
maybe it was two on the nose or something like that. Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, that could be. That could be.
Doubtful, but
Uh,
maybe, just maybe,
Yeah, just
it's
maybe, just maybe.
let's see here. Sticking with tech business, the H-1B visa situation looks
Yeah.
like Tesla well, they fired like 14,000 people worldwide. Like 2,700 of them were here in Austin. But at the same time, they also applied for 2,000 H-1B visas at the same
Hmm.
time. So it's
Okay.
there's some of that going on. It does seem a bit hinky, but to me, it's you don't know who they're firing and everything like that because I'm sure a lot of
Yeah.
those people also were H-1Bs. So I don't know if you do a H-1B and you fire them, do you have to get a new H-1B or can you use the same H-1B? I don't know what the law on that is. Maybe those 27 that they fired in Austin area were all on H-1Bs. They just wanted
Yeah.
to
No,
replace
I
them.
do believe that they have to apply for new ones, because essentially what the H-1B is it's you're bringing in that individual instead of just a blanket group or something
Oh
like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
And so they have so that what it sounds like they did is they went out and they found some individuals that they want to bring in, and maybe they were at their H-1B capital where they couldn't bring in any
Right.
more or something like
Yep.
that. And so if that's the case, then yeah, if you've got people that are more skilled that you want in, and you got people that are questionable that you want out, yeah, you get rid of them and you bring in a new H-1B.
Yeah, you never know. It's like the firings, they never say if any of those are
Yeah,
H-1Bs or anything like that. They don't say if
yeah,
they're green card
yeah,
holders or this or that. So what they fired may have been H-1Bs. So
yep,
I always take these stories and I go, well, yeah, it sounds bad, but is it bad? I don't know.
yeah,
And
yeah.
I don't feel like doing the research. But it's one of those things that it could be bad, but maybe not. It's
Well,
one of those
there
things.
really is no way to do the research on that. I mean, you can't find out why somebody was fired or what their
Well,
legal
true. Like
or
how many?
what their
Yeah. Unless if I
I could
become a
could you
spy
imagine
in Tesla.
could you imagine just a little podcaster like us being able to go in and find out the legal status of somebody that was working for a company? I
Yeah,
mean,
especially a private company. Yeah, or well,
yeah,
no, it's technically public, but yeah, still, it'd be kind of funny.
yeah, yeah,
Let's see here. Sticking with business. Looks like American companies really aren't backing China on this whole run of tariff threats of Trump.
yep.
Uh,
Which is kind of odd because they normally do.
right, right, but apparently it's because China is becoming closed off themselves. It's getting harder to actually do business in China.
Yeah,
And it's both from the government, but also just the people. A lot of people, a lot of the Chinese are just choosing a Chinese product versus an American
yeah.
product.
Oh yeah.
Uh, Not only that, but China passed a law that state-owned companies had to use domestic products. So they
Okay.
could no longer use like Microsoft or whatnot in their systems.
Okay.
Also, China offers subsidies for Chinese products. So the Chinese government will just pay the company to lower their prices. And then not only that, they will also provide subsidies to the customer. So the customer
Yep.
buys it and then they'll give money to the customer for this. So it's like,
Yep.
how are you going to compete against this? It's almost
No, you
impossible.
can't. Well, and that's what they're trying to do. I mean, they're trying to get it so that their market is secure.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
Yep.
and it's really, I mean, as China's technology has been catching up, they're able to do that more and more.
Right,
you
right.
know because I mean that's kind of always been how China has been with almost everything non-tech related.
Oh, yeah.
Because
Yep.
if you're food and stuff like that, they don't import a lot of food, they don't import a lot of the manual labor type stuff, the
Yeah,
stuff that's just
textiles or
easily
whatnot. Yep.
done.
Yep.
Yeah, the Chinese have never imported that stuff, and so now that they finally started catching up in the tech world, they're just bringing that policy up into the tech world as well. So I mean, it makes absolute sense with the way that China is usually run.
No, yeah, yeah. It's like one example. It hit me because my wife works for GM, but apparently GM they have a huge market over in China,
Hmm.
but apparently their market share uh, in 2018 they had a 13.7% market share.
Okay.
Uh, in 5 years, it dropped to 8.4.
Oh wow.
So yeah, that's a 5.3 percentage drop in market share.
Yeah, that's a
So
huge drop.
yeah, yeah. So I can see why companies are going. We don't care about tariffs on that. Tariff them. I don't care.
Yep. Yep.
Kind of makes sense in that
Yeah,
light.
absolutely that it does. Yeah, talking about businesses,
Uh huh.
the out in California, you, you can no longer have a ladies' night at a bar.
uh, Hilarious.
Yeah,
Why not?
it back in early 2000s is when the law was passed, but they've never really enforced it up till now.
Right.
um, they have a law that says that you can't discriminate against anyone in your pricing and stuff like that. And
Okay.
so that what they've taken that to mean is that if you offer a ladies' night for where women get beer cheap or even get
Oh,
free
free.
drinks or
Right,
anything
right.
like that,
Or no cover,
you have
whatever.
to you have to legally make that offer available to everyone that goes there. You can't discriminate just
uh,
this one group that you're trying. I mean, the whole point of a ladies' night is to get women to go there so that men can talk to them and stuff.
you're kidding. You're
It's
kidding.
a business driving way, it's a it. I've never, but yeah, I mean, you can no longer target a group to give them a cheaper price that they come in to benefit the whole. Instead, you have to you just can't give anyone a deal anymore.
It sounds about right. When you try to make everything equal,
Yeah.
sometimes you get shafted. But then it's like with
Well,
these.
and the funny thing is that it's not even the government that's doing this. It's people bringing the civil lawsuits.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
You know,
Uh,
you offered her a free drink, but you didn't offer me one, so I'm going to sue your ass. And I'm like, okay, but she wouldn't be there if they didn't offer her that free drink. You would be, so there's a difference.
right, but there also isn't at the same time. It's
Yeah, yeah,
yeah. No, I understand. I understand both points of view. I understand why you would sue because, well, you can, and Americans love to
yeah,
sue.
yeah.
But
This is a very litigious country.
it really is. But yeah, no, it's just stupid overall. It's just let the
Yeah,
business be, for God's sakes. Let them try to make
no
their money that
kidding.
they. If you
Yeah,
don't want to go, don't go. It's but then with
yep.
this new generation and everything like that, do they really care about ladies' nights? Do they even go out to clubs to meet people? Do they even meet people? I don't know. It's you hear about all the.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, it's a very good point, especially after COVID. I can't believe how many people's lives changed after COVID.
Yep.
They went from being out all the time to then for a year they were cooped up and couldn't do anything. And after everything stopped, they know they don't go out and do stuff. I'm like, if it were me, if I would have been the type of person that always wanted to be out in amongst a group, I would have been celebrating the day that they ended everything from COVID, and I would have been right out there partying again.
Yep. That's That's what we did. That's why
Yeah.
moving to Texas was great. From Michigan, right, dude? We moved down here in 21, and it was night and day. You still had to wear your masks and
Oh
all
yeah.
that crap up in Michigan.
Yep.
You moved down here, and I think like one or two places would go, "Oh, you need a mask."
Yeah.
We're going. Sure, we carried the mask around, but Jerry, it was just free down here. It was beautiful. It,
Yep.
it was
Yep.
freedom. It was true freedom, and I loved it.
Oh yeah. 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 Well, thankfully, here in Kansas, we didn't have too long of a period that we
Yeah,
had
yeah.
to mask up. We had to mask up at first, but then after about a couple of months, they're like, yeah, now what? To hell with it.
Yep, 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 yep. That's that's Jerry how the Republican or the red states did it. At first,
Yeah.
everybody we all went along with the line at first. It's
Yeah. We were very subservient.
yeah, 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 yeah. But then after some time, we're going, well, this isn't as bad as they say it is. So
Yeah.
yeah, let's not do
That,
that.
yep. Yep. But yeah, that was yeah. Talking about going along with things, there's been a new trend on TikTok now.
Uh-huh.
Do you remember the those old Catch a Predator shows?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, there's some that are trying to do stuff like that on TikTok now.
Oh Jesus.
Yeah, and of course, they're not doing any research into this, and they're lying about it as well.
Right.
So there's a college at a college in Massachusetts. It didn't state which college it was. There were six people worked together to basically lure a person to their campus.
Okay.
Her TikTok profile said that she was 18. He
Uh-huh.
was a 22-year-old serviceman that had gotten time off because his mother had died.
22?
And so, yeah, he was 22.
Okay.
And he had come back to Massachusetts to bury his, I believe it was his mother that he was burying. It was either his mother or his grandmother, one of the two.
Uh-huh.
Um, and they got him to go to campus. And then they told everybody on campus that he was a predator trying to have sex with a 17-year-old, even though her profile on TikTok said that she was 18.
What
And
now?
so so they got like a group of 30 people to chase him and beat the shit out of him.
Jesus Christ. They all in jail now?
Yeah. Yes, most of them are.
Yeah. No shit. That, no. No.
No,
Uh,
yeah,
uh,
but
uh,
no,
uh, uh,
that's something it's been happening. There's been a few other cases of it now, and it's from a TikTok challenge type thing. You know, that it's got onto TikTok and
right,
people
right, but
saw it, and
but your profile says that you're of legal age.
yes,
It doesn't matter if
and
he's
you
22
convince
or
someone that's 4 years older than you to come and chat with you on campus. He
and that is
wasn't
a
even going to have sex with her technically.
yeah, and that's a very
He what
yeah,
yeah.
that's a very normal age range to for dating.
Yes, it is.
You, you, you,
A 4 year gap is nothing.
yeah, it really isn't. And he's going to a college campus, which
Yes.
yes, I know there are some people that are 17 on a college campus,
Yeah.
but 99.99% of people on college campuses are 18 and above. Just saying.
Absolutely yes.
You,
Yeah.
you, you know, it's like these poor guys that get
It's not
caught.
like he was going to her house or something like that, you know.
Oh yeah,
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 he was going to meet her on campus out in the public area on campus. I mean, what the hell?
yeah, yeah. No, it's especially when they put, it's like these poor guys that I could get in trouble for saying this, but these poor guys that they go to a club that's 21 and over, and
Yes.
so and then they meet a girl. And the next thing you know, the cops are there because she's 15, but
Yeah.
it was a 21 and over club, so he just assumed,
Yep.
you really have to. Don't get me wrong, always check, and everything like that. But it's but this one they were 18. Come on, they even said they
Yeah.
were. Yeah. That I'm glad they're in
Yeah, I
jail.
mean, the whole issue stemmed from them to say doing on a campus post in the campus social media
Uh huh.
that he was coming for a 17-year-old.
Wow. What's the legal age in California?
This is in Massachusetts.
Oh, Massachusetts. Let's see.
Yeah.
Age of consent in Mass. Uh, Age of consent in Massachusetts is 16 years old. So
Which
even if it
means
was
that
a
even if she were
17-year-old,
17, it wouldn't have been illegal.
it wouldn't have been illegal. The age of consent is raised to 18 if the victim is of a chaste life and the offender induces them to have sexual intercourse. So basically, if you're already having sex, it's 16. But
Yeah.
if
If you're a
you're a
virgin, then it's
virgin,
18.
that's different. Okay, that is different. So in Massachusetts, age of consent is 16. Huh.
Yeah.
So he wasn't even doing anything illegal.
Yeah. Yet these 25, 30 guys, 30 people still went and beat the shit out of him.
Wow.
They chased him to his car, slammed his head in the car door.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Eh. Wow. Wow.
Yep. That's TikTok for you.
Yeah, God bless TikTok. Just go back to
Yep.
swallowing Tide Pods, for God's sakes, you know?
Yep.
Let's see
Yeah,
here.
I'd say that the TikTok challenges, though, that's the one thing that I think where one place where TikTok kind of gets out of control.
Well,
Because
but
some of those challenges get pretty bad.
yeah, but it's not just TikTok. It's been
Oh no, I know.
Facebook challenges,
But TikTok is the
MySpace.
one that's known for their TikTok challenges.
Well,
You
right
know, I mean,
now,
in
yeah,
fact,
yeah.
it's called a TikTok challenge no matter which platform it's on now because it did originated from TikTok, I believe.
Well, no, it's just because TikTok is the most popular right now. It's
Oh,
well,
okay.
like, yeah, it's the most popular social media in the United States
Yep.
right now. So they just call it TikTok challenge. But yeah, it's because
Yeah.
it was going on Facebook even before TikTok and everything like that.
Yep.
So it's not.
Yep.
Yeah, it happens on Instagram and everything like that too.
Yeah. Yeah.
But just like that, here at the Mindless Sea, we are a value for value model. So if you want to help us out, send us some donations. You can find the link in right along the podcast app and in the show notes and everything like that. You can see that there. Uh, yeah, but what could really help us at this stage in our point is just letting people know about our podcast. Just let them know. Just say, I like this podcast. You might not agree with everything they say, but I like the podcast. Just get the word out there. Have fun. I try to have fun. That's all I'm doing. But yeah, money would work
Absolutely.
too.
That's what we're
So
here for.
yeah, exactly. Just for fun. And
Yep.
money if you can bring us some money.
Money
Let's
always
see.
helps. Yes.
Money always helps. Keeps us going in life, right?
Yep. Yep.
Let's see here.
Speaking of money,
Uh-huh.
this, New York has found a way to make inflation even worse.
How now?
Every single vehicle that goes into Lower Manhattan, whether
Oh
it's
yeah.
delivery vehicles or anything like that, is
Yep.
now going to have to pay $9 every single day to go downtown.
Yeah. Congestion fee. Yep. It's
Yeah.
it was fought in court, but the courts are saying no, they can do it.
Yep.
So yeah. It's and $9 is the cheapest you can get.
Yeah.
It can actually go up, like delivery vehicles and everything like that. It can be like $21 or
Yeah.
whatnot to go in. So, yeah, but then New York is just damn expensive, anyways. So,
Oh, it is absolutely. But I mean, just, can you imagine the I can only imagine that people that live outside of town are not going to be as ready to come into the city anymore. I mean, could you imagine spending $9 a day just to go to work?
uh, yeah, it suck. London has the same sort of thing.
Hmm.
But they fight them over there. Holy hell! The things that there was this one I saw. I think it was in London. It may have been in Scotland. I don't know, but it was for like the emissions or the congestion thing, everything like
Yeah.
that. Somebody used a drone to put a trash can on top of one of the cameras and the sensors. So they it was awesome.
Nice. I love it.
Uh, the British, they have some issues, but there's some good guys down there fighting a good fight against
Yep. Yep.
overwrought government.
Yeah. 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 No, they were interviewing a business owner down there, and he's like, it. Not only will I have to start paying this $9 a day to drive my vehicle to work, my employees will all have to start doing that, which means that if they're going to continue working here, I'm going to have to pay them more. Which also means that for every delivery that I get in here, yes, that they may charge $9 or whatever they're going to charge, but you know how companies run because they charge that $9, the price of the delivery is actually going to go up by like $20 at least.
Right.
And so he's like, everything is just going to get so expensive that it's really going to kill the small business owners out here.
Yeah, I could see that, but in the amount things cost in New York, I just,
Oh yeah, yeah.
it's a pittance, really.
Nine nine
Uh,
nine dollars a day in New York is like $1 a day here.
well, parking will cost you at least 50 to 75 bucks a day. You know,
Oh
it's
yeah.
so what's $9? you, 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 regular employees aren't driving into work anyways in New York. They're taking the
Well,
subway.
yeah,
You know,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
so yeah. I understand, but
Well, really the only thing that it's going to affect is it's going to affect the people that live outside of the city that are coming into the city. You
nope,
know, like if you
nope.
live in New Jersey or something like that, you're not going to want to work in Lower Manhattan anymore because the cost of doing that just increases.
Or you just park and ride. You know, park in New
Yeah.
Jersey and then take the
Yep.
subway across under the river, and there you go. It's
Yep. Yep.
I actually prefer to stay in New Jersey and then just go into New York. That was good when I did that. Yeah, it was.
Okay.
Then you can look at New York.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
So
absolutely
it's
true. Yeah. Yeah,
yep.
when you're in New York, that doesn't look good.
Yeah, some
You
of
know,
it doesn't.
the
Yeah,
you can't see skyline. You can't really see anything around it. You know, if you're in Jersey, depending on where you're at, you can see the Statue of Liberty with the skyline. You know, you can see the. It's a lot more impressive when you're not actually in New York City. It's more impressive when you're across the river.
oh yeah, yeah, yep. So let's get to some science here since we're in this latter part of the show. So
Alrighty.
apparently, I ran across this article that said that obsession with eating or obsession with healthy eating can lead to addiction and mental illness. So this was a study done in Hungary, which is kind of funny because it's done in Hungary and it's talking about food. But but whatever. Anyways, apparently there's this. It's not like a you can't be diagnosed for it, but it is this thing is called orthorexia nervosa,
Okay.
which is an addiction to eating pure foods, healthy foods, like really pure foods. And
Yeah.
apparently, if you get into this, it was an American physician named Stephen Bratman. In 1997, he came up with this, and basically, it's if you have these and if you're this type of person that does this, that it can really restrict your dietary needs and it can lead to unhealthy consequences. Because if it's
Right.
pure food, it might not have all the nutrients that you need. Because you
Yeah.
need gluten, you need this, and everything like that.
Yep.
And a lot of times it's actually associated with social isolation because you can't just go have a burger, Uh,
Right. That's very true. Yeah, you can't really go out to a restaurant or anything like that.
yeah, yeah, or anxiety and malnutrition,
Mm-hmm.
even death, apparently,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes.
Yeah,
Uh,
that doesn't surprise me.
but yeah, the best part about it was that at the end of the article, it said, the condition affects men and women equally, and research has found that those affected tend to score highly on narcissism and perfectionism. It has been suggested that it is not low self-esteem driving this trend, but a desire to feel superior to others.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Ooh,
I
shouldn't
definitely
you
can
be
see that.
eating? You should be eating like me. I'm better than you. It's
Yep. Yep. Yep.
there's so much of
I don't
that
know how
going
many times
around,
I've heard that.
right? It's like, no, just do what you do. I may make
Yeah.
fun of you behind your back, but that's about all I'm gonna
Yep.
do.
Yep. I may make jokes, for the vegetarians and the vegans out there. I may make jokes that you are what you eat, which means that you're a piece of lettuce. But
Well, vegetarians, they're also eggs. They
yeah,
drink milk, so there's
no,
that.
vegetarians
But
aren't eggs.
Yeah, they can eat egg.
Is it
Yep.
only vegans that can't then?
Yes.
Okay.
Vegetarians can eat milk, cheese, eggs. They can eat animal
Hmm.
products,
Okay.
but they
They
don't.
they can eat the byproducts, but they can't eat the meat themselves itself.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Correct.
Okay.
Vegans
Okay.
can't. And I think vegans fall into this level of the
Oh,
orthorexia
absolutely.
nervosa because
Absolutely, yeah.
so many of them just want to feel superior, and vegan is the
Yeah.
way of life. And give me a steak. Come on, dude.
Well, I mean that's why so many people are eating gluten free is because they think it makes them better than other people. I mean,
Yep. Yep.
gluten
Even though
is
it doesn't do
important.
anything.
Gluten is important in many cases.
Yeah, unless of course you have celiac disease, then
Well, yeah, yeah,
yes.
of
But
course.
yeah, gluten, good,
Yep,
tasty gluten.
absolutely.
Let's see here.
Uh,
What else? I have a funny story for the end that I'll do. Do you have anything else that you really want to cover?
um, uh, one comment and possibly another one.
Okay.
Um, so you've heard about the Social Security Fairness Act?
No.
Okay. It was just recently signed into law by Biden. What it does is it makes it so that so public employees, such as teachers and stuff like that, don't get their Social Security uh, diminished because they're getting their pensions.
Okay. So they're screwing
Which
over Social
I've never
Security.
actually no, they were screwing over the employees before, which is kind of odd. It doesn't usually work that way. So there was a law enacted a while back that said that if you received a government pension, if you received a pension from public service,
Right.
that the money that you receive would offset your Social Security payment.
Okay.
The problem is, in my mind, is that in no other category of income does any extra income diminish your Social Security payment. So only a government employee, because they receive the government pension, would have their Social Security diminished because they were receiving money from that pension. Everyone else, so union pensions and everything else like that, does not affect the Social Security at all.
Yes, it does.
Now,
Yes. You
it
don't
makes it
pay into
taxable.
it. You don't pay
It
into
well,
Social
no.
Security if you're on a pension.
Right. No. Well, you do pay in if you're in a pen if you're it all depends on what your government employees. The problem is that the Social Security payment that they were receiving is from work outside of their public service. So they held regular jobs but didn't work for over 30 years. So say you went into public service at say you became a teacher at say 40 years old.
Uh huh.
You've been working for 20 years
Okay, so you're pretty much
in the
fully
public sector.
so you're fully vested in Social Security.
Yeah. And
Okay.
they were supposed to receive their Social Security checks based off of the income that they made while they were in the public sector.
Okay.
But then they went into the government work, and because they received a government pension, the Social Security money that they were getting from their previous work was being short.
Ah, okay. Okay. So it's only for those that also worked in the
Yes,
uh
yes. If you didn't
private
work in
without a
the
pension.
if you didn't work in the private sector at all, then you have no option of receiving Social Security. So in order to
Okay.
receive the Social Security, they had to have paid into it at some point in time. And so because they went into the public sector because they were working for the public sector and getting that pension,
Right.
they were the old law was that their Social Security would be reduced.
Right. Okay. Okay.
And the big problem that they were running into with this was that the Social Security would start paying out before the pensions did.
Uh-huh.
And when you're doing stuff like this, they go back for a year. And so once your pension hit, you had to pay back for basically the full year of Social Security that you'd already been paid. So so as soon as they went onto the pension, they were having to they suddenly owed the Social Security Department like $5,000 to $10,000.
Huh. That'd suck. That'd
Yeah.
really suck. Okay. I see what you mean. Okay.
Yeah, when I first heard the
Okay.
story, I'm like, well, they're not supposed to receive Social Security anyways because they don't
Right,
pay
right,
into it.
right.
But then as I was reading into it further, it turns out that these are people that were in the private sector first, or even sometimes during, because some
Yeah, no,
teachers, you
yeah,
don't really make
completely.
a whole lot of money, so
Yeah,
you work in the
completely.
private sector as well.
Yep.
And so the Social Security payments that they were rightfully supposed to get were being withheld because they had worked in the public sector as well.
Got it. Okay. Yeah. That's cool. No worries then. Yeah, if you
Yeah.
didn't, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah, I read
Cool.
that and I was like, damn.
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding.
We've been screwing over our postal workers this whole time. No wonder they go postal.
It's just a small minority, Jamin. Jeez, dude. Why?
Yes, I know, but there's a reason that they do that idiom for it.
Let's see here. Oh, I have something about
Then
green cards here.
okay,
Uh, so apparently, this one person, he wants to get rid of the green card lottery system.
yeah,
So green card lottery, basically what it does is it allows 55,000 people to get a green card and move to the United States. The only
mhm,
restriction on that is that you either have to have a high school diploma or have worked for 2 years of your life.
okay,
And then you can just move into the United States with that green card. They give out 55,000. My brother-in-law actually just applied for it this year. So,
oh, okay,
but anyways, apparently this came about in the 80s, the green card lottery. And apparently it was only as a way to get Irish in. So in the early
interesting.
in the early stages, about 40% of the lottery winners were Irish. 40%.
Okay,
And it was to the point
it's a
where,
pretty high percentage.
yeah, it was to the point where Ireland was actually paying for the flights of these people to come over to the U.S. because they wanted to get rid of their people. I swear to God, the Irish are weird.
They are, yeah, that they are.
And they would even have like application parties and things like that.
That's hilarious.
Right? But yeah, so this one guy, he says we should get rid of that. And there's actually a backlog of educated people
Yeah.
that want to come in. It's like about like 1.8 million people. And he goes,
Okay.
we could just get rid of that and then just let these highly educated people in. It'd be better for a country
Oh
if we
yeah,
let them
yeah, absolutely.
educate. Yeah, so yeah, maybe the green card lottery will go away. Who knows? But we also need these restaurants that they open up. They're awfully tasty.
Oh,
Just saying,
absolutely. Yeah, that
yeah.
they are. Yeah,
And we need
yeah.
taxi drivers. It's
Yep. It may not increase the technological aspect of the country, but it'll at least improve the social aspect and
oh yeah,
the
well,
it'll improve the culture.
possibly.
I think that's the one thing that you lose out when you're only going for highly educated people is they generally culture gets educated out of people eventually in some
Yeah,
cases.
sometimes that's a good thing. Just saying.
Sometimes it is, but it's never bad to have a little bit more of a culture mix up in there.
Oh yeah. It'll just take a few generations to work its way through, just like
Yeah,
always.
yeah,
That's how
oh
it
yeah,
always is.
absolutely. Yep.
You had one more thing you wanted to
Yeah,
talk
did
about?
you hear that two of the death row inmates that Biden wants to commute have started filing cases to get rid of that commutation.
Yeah, I heard that. It's quite interesting.
Yeah.
When I saw the headline, I go, "Do they actually think that they deserve to die?" Nope, that wasn't it, was it?
No. It's purely because, and I did not know this, but it
Yep.
makes absolute sense. When you're on death row, every legal proceeding gets fast tracked. And
Yep.
so
Yep.
if you truly believe that you're innocent, you want to be on death row so that you can get out of prison faster if it happens to be overturned.
Uh-huh. Yep. It,
Because once they get out of death row, everything goes back to normal, and you're talking years before anything can happen.
yeah, nobody will look at your case.
Yeah,
It's like you're not going to die. Who cares?
yeah, exactly.
You were found guilty. Just say it. Bye
Yep,
bye now.
yep.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, one of those two people, his somebody that the person that I think it was his brother or something like that that had committed the crime with him ended up dying in prison
Uh-huh.
not too long ago.
Oh,
And so
okay.
he's like, I want this to be fast tracked. I don't want to die in prison while I'm still waiting for this to get taken care of.
Oh yeah, completely. Completely.
Yeah, I thought that was very interesting. Learned a lot about the legal system when I read that article.
Yeah, yeah. There's so much to it. There is so much
Yeah.
to it. It's just like Guinness over in the UK. So
Hmm.
my friend is over in the UK, right? Or he was, and he said he's been drinking some Guinness.
Okay.
Apparently, he caused a shortage. I'm just saying, there's a shortage of Guinness in the UK right now, and it has to be
Well,
him only.
I
It
mean,
has to be him.
it's a friend of it's a friend of yours, so it doesn't surprise me. So,
But yeah, apparently there's actually a shortage of Guinness in the UK. In the UK, for
huh?
God's sakes. Yeah. And uh,
Wow.
guess why? Guess why it is?
Why is that?
Because young people are actually drinking Guinness now over there. Apparently, it was only used to be a young old man drink was Guinness, and then Guinness had was brilliant and had a TikTok thing going, influencers and everything like that. And now you can just see like a group of 6 young people equally divided between male and female, and they're all drinking a Guinness now.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. So it was sad when a lorry, aka a truck, with 35,000 pints of Guinness was stolen.
Somebody was throwing a party.
Right? Right? Yeah. Maybe it was those a bar needed it and they couldn't get it any other way.
Very well could be. Uh,
Well, thank you for joining us for episode 19 of the Mindless Meandering podcast. I'm Jesse Fries,
and I'm Jamin Fries.
and you guys have a great week.